Hello everyone, it's me, Bryson P, and welcome to another video. Today, I do want to share with you a story. Sunday morning, around 9 o'clock in the morning, my stepmother calls me because she actually happened to be about an hour and a half away. She was in the area visiting. She was visiting some friends, and she was headed back to the state of Arkansas where she lives with my father. So she wanted to go a different route home. That way she could come here and have brunch with me and my two kids. So we chose to meet her at Denny's, and we walk in. There's, of course, a wait, which is no big deal, that's normal. But we ended up waiting. They said it's about a 30-minute wait. Now, their seating right now capacity is, I think, like 50% capacity, okay? So they're at 50% seating capacity. They said it's about a 30-minute wait, and we ended up waiting about 45 minutes before we got seated. So once we got seated, then it took about another 5 minutes or so to get our for our waitress to come and greet us, whatnot. We got our drink. Well, actually, we didn't even order our drinks first. We had already planned and knew what we wanted because of how slow the service was and what the experience we were having was. We went ahead and ordered our food at the very beginning and then our drinks. And our waitress walked off. She did her thing. And we got our drinks. 45 minutes later, we get our food. Well, we didn't just get all of our food because my youngest child, she was missing. She ordered chocolate chip pancakes with sausage and bacon and macaroni and cheese. She didn't get the macaroni and cheese, and she didn't get the sausage. And the waitress said that, that she would be back with it, that they were still making it. My oldest daughter, she didn't get her pancakes. She ordered just regular pancakes with bacon and sliced apples. She didn't get, the apples, and then it had a little dipping cup of caramel with it. So she didn't get the caramel with it. Waitress said she'd bring it, and that they were still making her pancakes. I got my food, and my stepmom got her food. So about 10 minutes later, the waitress finally brings the macaroni and cheese to my youngest daughter, and it was like just extremely, extremely hot. The plate, or the bowl, and everything, and she was apologizing profusely, just constantly apologizing. I'm really sorry. I had to make it myself. The kitchen just didn't make it for whatever reason, and I had to microwave it because it was frozen solid. It's hard to not complain, and we didn't complain to her, but, you talk amongst yourselves. And there was other people there complaining. There was other guests that were, having complaints. There was a group of 4 other people at another section of the restaurant, and their food was taking forever. They actually, this woman got up and found the manager and started complaining to the manager about how long it was taking for their food and all kinds of stuff, and making a scene, which I guess you guys would see as the typical American, right? So she's making a scene and just being belligerent, and the manager just flat out looked at her and was going, "Well, what do you want me to do, ma'am? Do you want me to stop the entire grill and stop the entire rest of the restaurant from cooking food so that way you and your 3 other guests can get theirs first?" And it was just, oh man, it's just the way that, it's just crazy. So anyways, so our waitress, she's apologizing. We've already been here for over an hour and a half. And my oldest daughter, finally gets her pancakes, eats it. So all in all, from the time we got there, got seated, got our food, ate, and all that, it was 2.5 hours. Because we got there right around noon, and I remember specifically as we were getting ready to leave, that I told my stepmother that, well, if you leave now, you ought to be home by around this time. So given that time, it would have been, 2:30 in the afternoon. So we were there for 2 to 2.5 hours to eat brunch. point that I'm getting at is they had hiring signs for every position. They had signs on the door, they had signs at the counter, they had signs in the restaurant that they were hiring for every position. Talked to manager today. The waitress at the end, whenever she brought us our check, she came over and like I said, she handed us the check and she was like, "I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry that your meal was so screwed up. I'm so sorry that your experience was so bad. We're so short-handed. Nobody, is coming in, and we just don't have the staff that we need." And I'm not saying this as a feel good. I'm not saying this as anything like that. I'm saying this because this is real life here. But she broke down and started crying right there. We're still sitting at the booth, finish up our food. She's giving us the check, and she starts crying. Standing there because of how stressed and how everything is right now. She started crying and was like, "I'm so sorry that your macaroni and cheese was not right. I'm so sorry that your pancakes weren't right. I'm so sorry." And it was just bad, and got to look at those types of things. Like, you don't really know what someone's going through. And you never know what someone might be going through in their life, and you take it out on people, or, you don't realize that you experiencing the negativity that you're experiencing now, like having to wait in line at the grocery store and it's taking forever, and there's 3 other people in front of you, and the lady that is checking you out is taking forever and is just being so slow, and just come on and hurry up. And you don't realize that, maybe she's slowing down not because of her age, but because she has an illness or a cancer or something that, is making her, ill. Or maybe the lady who's checking out who, is yelling at her kid, and you look at her like, "Wow, you're such a horrible mom," or whatever, because you're snapping at your kid. Yeah, that's not cool. That's not right. And that's never a good thing. But that person might have just lost their husband in a really bad car wreck a couple of days ago, and they're trying to deal with life the best they can. You don't know. You don't know. You got to treat people with respect and humanity. I mean, you can't just, go around and you don't know what people are going through, and you don't know what someone else's life is, because you can't live your life in someone else's shoes. But degrading people and just treating people with just absolute disrespect, I mean, that's what's wrong with people, man. That's what's wrong with people. But anyways, my point is even after everything that was said and done with, right, we ended up giving her, an extra $20 for a tip. So out of a $42 and $2, I think it was like $42.78, we ended up giving her a $27 tip out of that. So, and also my youngest daughter gave it to her, and we told her, it was okay, and whatnot. And that, it's just, wow. But I looked up real quick. I did look up the jobs, right? Because I wanted to show you guys what this lady was going through also, right? So she's working this job, and a host/hostess at Denny's, the one that's hiring and the one that we went to, is hiring, and it says for similar jobs that pay around this, that it pays between $7.92 and $9.24 an hour. That's not much. And let's look over here at the servers. Well, if you're a server, you can get $7.89 to $10.63. And if you're a cook, you can make big bucks. If you're a cook, you can make $7.93 to $10.67 an hour. So why do you not have workers? Because the Popeyes chicken restaurant here, they were closed for a couple of days last week because they had no workers. They literally had a sign on my door, not my door. They had a sign on the door that said, closed for the night, no employees. And then another restaurant about 20 miles from here, they were closed on a Friday night because they had they had no hostess, they had no waitresses, no waiters. But whenever you're getting unemployment benefits, which is a couple $100 a week, and then you get an extra $300 on top of that to stay home, why would you want to go back to work for these wages and for this pay? Why would you? I mean, let's just say for a host and hostess, that's $7.92 to $9.24. Let's just call it $8.50, right? So $8.50 an hour times that, and let's just say you're full time, which you probably wouldn't be, but because of how short staffed they are, you could probably work all you wanted. So let's just say you worked 40 hours a week there, okay? So that's $340 a week before taxes, right? That's before taxes. So whenever you deduct taxes and everything else, you're bringing home $300 a week, maybe. Well, why would I go and deal with that and be belittled and be just completely degraded and not appreciated for anything and work for tips basically and hope that people leave me a tip because of how horrible the service this is and how horrible of a dining experience it is? Why would anybody leave me a tip, especially a decent tip? So I'm working, for not much. Whenever I could just choose not to go back to work, I could stay home and I can collect my unemployment and I can collect the extra, $300 in benefits. And it's essentially double my pay. I wouldn't go back to work either. So we got to figure something out. And I'm not necessarily saying that we need to strip all of it away and all that. I do think we need to start reducing this and start making incentives for us to go back to work and have jobs than it is to just stay home. I don't agree with that at all. But you can't expect people to do that for peanuts. You got to pay people a living wage at some point. And you've been paying people, I'm not going to say you've been paying people a living wage, but you've been paying people more than what they've been used to. And now you expect them to go back to that, to go back to paying, to go back to getting half of what they've been getting and get belittled at work and deal with the horrible, horrible people? No. Why would you do that? Hope you enjoyed this. And if you didn't, that's okay. This is just my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions. Everybody's entitled to their own, and that's what is great about us being human beings. And I appreciate that you have your own thought and your own opinion. It would be a very sad and gloomy world if we all thought the same thing and we all had to do the same thing, the same way, the same everything. So, anyways, that's just me. Hopefully, I'm not the only one. I'll see you in another video. Goodbye. It's weird.